Hi, this is Erin from Morehouse Farm with today's knitting tip, which is how to do the knit one again stitch that you'll find in our Rincon Wrap. And that's the one that makes this neat little knotty sort of design. And you do this because you're almost knitting 2 rows at a time. You're going to knit a stitch and then you're going to knit into the row again. So you're creating 2 levels at once. Let me show you here. We're going to start off with our edge because this is a garter tab shawl, so we've got our 3 edge stitches, and I'll show you both American and Continental. But first, let's get to where we need to go. So we're going to knit this stitch, and then before we slide it off the needle, we're going to take the left needle, poke it back in, and knit the new stitch again. So see how that gives 2 at once? So we're going to knit this stitch, and then we're going to poke the left needle back in and knit the new stitch again. Now notice this time I did not drop the first stitch off the needle. You can do it either which way you want. So again, that's drop it off, poke your left needle back in and knit that new stitch, or poke it in, knit the stitch before you drop it off, just get the left needle back in there and then knit it. So now you'll take both of them off. That's really up to you what the preference is. They look pretty much the same. It's just a little bit of tension difference here as I'm getting from my edge stitch to my design stitches. So how does that look Continental? We're gonna knit and then knit one again. Okay, so we're gonna knit the stitch and then knit that new stitch again. And you can decide whether you want to take that off, put the needle back in separate, just like this, or you can always knit it and just know that you need to drop both of those off at the same time. So that's knit one again, and then every once in a while you're going to see where it calls for knit one front and back. So that's just like it says, knit one. Now you're going to knit this stitch, you're going to knit it front and back. So you have a decision to make here. If you put it back on the needle as it's formed, you'll knit it, whoops, as long as you get in the right stitch, and then you'll knit through the back. Right? If you are knitting here and poking your needle right through, you're going to have to rearrange the working needle. Otherwise, you're going to have to change the direction of the stitch, like so. So if you put it in here, you have to take this needle out just so that you can then go in from the knit direction on this side, knit, and then knit through the back. And what that does when you're doing that knit front and back is giving you your first row here, and then in the second row, you're doing an increase, which is exactly what you need for this garter tab shawl. So American style, you'll knit and then put the needle back in here. See how this brings the leg forward? That's what I was trying to explain a minute ago. If I don't position the stitch on the needle correctly, now I'm going to have to rearrange this just a little bit so that I can knit through the other side of the loop without undoing it. That becomes a little awkward. So if I pay attention to how I've arranged my stitches here, by making sure I go through and have them organized knitwise, now I can just keep on knitting. Make sense? Hope so. That is the Rincon Wrap stitch, known as the knit one again and knit one again front and back. Happy knitting from Morehouse Farm.